So we're going to be doing some natural dyeing, in case you were wondering what all of that flower picking and mortar and pestling was for. So yeah, we're doing some natural dyeing. I'm going to be dyeing the remains of this ball, this cake of yarn. It is Cascade Noble Cotton, which, okay, this is my first time doing natural dyeing. So we're experimenting mostly with this. I do have a book that I'm following that's been very helpful. I've also read several different blogs, like actually went digging for information, not just like skimming. And those weren't quite so helpful, but the book is like answering all the questions that I've had. So yeah, so a lot of this is experimental. I don't know what I'm doing, but also a lot of it is from the research I've done, some guesses, and not like completely without cause. So to start off the yarn, this is a mercerized cotton, which is chemically treated to be softer. I believe that's what it's for. So I was looking up on so many different like websites, Reddit, like a bunch of different things, and nothing would tell me if it was like possible to natural dye with mercerized cotton. So we're just gonna see if this works. I don't quite know. Sorry, my glasses keep falling down my face because I'm sweaty from sitting outside. So we're just gonna take this off for now. So I don't know if this is gonna work on the mercerized cotton. But we're gonna try. I know that this isn't a cake. I will be putting it back into like skein form, because obviously this is not good for dyeing. The like inner bits won't get hit with the dye. The flowers that I was picking are Bachelor's buttons, also known as cornflower. There was just a patch growing next to the road, the like main road outside my neighborhood. And I was really nervous that they were going to be gone by the time I was able to get around to doing this, because it's been getting a lot hotter lately. But luckily there was still enough. I was able to get a good amount. I did separate the petals from the stems, and I have those in the fridge until I'm ready to make the dye bath with them. I don't know if I needed to separate the petals from the stem, but I was just thinking that, I don't know, more of that blue, bright, vibrant, like purpley blue will come through and not be like muddled down with any green from the stem. I don't know if that would transfer over. But yeah, and then, so when you're doing the natural dyeing with plant matter, you can either strain out the plant matter or you can leave it in and it will give it more of a variegated texture. I'm going to be leaving it in. I'm also hoping that will make the color a bit more vibrant. And also, I don't have a strainer to strain them out with. So, good things, fun things. I went thrifting yesterday to grab my big pot and spoon dedicated to natural dyeing. Because you're supposed to have separate ones. Bachelor's button is actually edible, so I don't think I needed that, but I am using oak galls, gall nuts, or oak apples are other names for them, as my mordant, and also a dye. We'll get more into that later. So I got the big pot and wooden spoon for my dye bath. I only got one, so, because I'm moving in a few weeks, and I don't want to have, like, a bunch of stuff crowding up my roommate's place while I'm, like, here for the next 5 weeks. So I only got the pot and that, and didn't get a strainer. So we're gonna see how that goes. Okay, so, and then what I'm going to be starting right now is making my mordant with the galls, which you saw me picking up. These, guys, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have no problem finding galls. Those are everywhere. I was walking through the woods last weekend, and I was like, wow, there are so many galls. Like, this is gonna be easy peasy, like, finding as many as I need. I had so much trouble trying to find them today. I don't know if it's because it's hot and they were like breaking down a lot faster. I don't know if the deer eat them. Don't know what it was, but they like vanished. I did find a good amount though. I have ground down enough to fill this jar, and I do have more galls in my basket outside if I need to make more. Oak galls can also be used as a dye, not just a mordant, so they make a pinky color if used alone. And then if you add alum, it turns black. So in this book I'm referencing for my natural dyeing experiments today, it says, over the next few days, it's going to take me several days to do this. It says that to dye cotton, you can use gall nuts, oak galls, whatever you want to call them, as your pre-mordant. Use alum as your mordant, and then use your dye. And then soak it double the time to really let that color hit it, really stick to it more than if you were dyeing wool. But I've seen, I think in several other places, and maybe it wasn't alum, maybe it was chrome or something, but I'm pretty sure it was alum, that if you use gall nuts as a dye and then you soak it in alum after it turns black, and you can use it as a black dye. So we're just gonna go with the gall nuts as a mordant and hopefully get some of that pinky color going, and then we're gonna go straight into making the blue dye from the Bachelor's buttons and seeing how that works. So this is all very experimental. That's the rundown of what we're doing. So I'm gonna start making my gall liqueur, as it's called in the book, which is, and then also, as you can tell, I did not grind this into a very fine powder. I was just using the mortar and pestle. There are some chunks in there. So yeah, and then once again, I don't have a strainer, but I think I have cheesecloth. If I don't, I'm gonna go run and ask my neighbor if I can borrow some cheesecloth from her, because I'm sure she has some. So let's get cooking. Okay, so there's no actual measurements in the book I'm following. There is in terms of weights of the galls to fiber content, but I don't have a kitchen scale, so we're also just eyeballing that. And so this is where this gets a little not so scientific and exact in my experiment, so-called. But it's said to add enough water to cover and let it evaporate and have some water to evaporate. So I think that that's pretty good. It should be, yeah, I'm happy with this. I have it on a medium-low heat. I just want it to get to a simmer and sit at a simmer for 30 minutes. Sorry, my camera-ing is terrible. Let it sit at a simmer for 30 minutes, and then I can strain out the gall liquor. And then I can mordant my yarn, make the mordant bath. So I don't have cheesecloth, or I don't know that, I looked for 2 seconds and I didn't see it, and I'm not digging more than that. But you know what I do have? Coffee filters, so I'm gonna use that as my strainer for these gallnuts, which, perfect, yay. I don't use those coffee strainers, so yeah. Okay, so I have my gall liquor. It made a bit more than this, but I was getting frustrated. I was using a coffee filter to strain it. Apparently those guys are strong, so lesson learned, I need to get a strainer. But anyways, yeah, this is the gall liquor I have. So I have this, tingled up. Okay, I have this. It's gonna be unwound, but I just have it skein form right now. I also have this white fabric. I don't know if it's a natural fiber or synthetic, and I have much more than just this, and I want to know if I can do natural dyeing on it, so we're doing this little bit as a test to see if whatever I make with the rest of this fabric will take a natural dye, because it does have like a bit of staining in certain parts, so if I can over dye it with natural dyeing, that would be great. And then I have a little bit, just a little string of wool, so yeah, gonna see how it looks with each of these. Okay, so we are at 104 degrees. I'm gonna add all of these there into the pot and add my mordant, bring up the temperature, let it sit for an hour, checking it, probably just gonna knit, watch some YouTube during that time. And then it's gonna sit in the pot off the heat for 3 to 4 hours. You know what, that is too much liquid, so I'm gonna pour a little bit out. Okay, there is less liquid. I feel like it still might be a little much. But yeah, I'll just add the rest of my stuff in. Okay, making sure it's all wet sufficiently. And then I'm gonna add the mordant. Okay, and then I'm gonna bring the temperature up to 176 Fahrenheit. Good soup. Okay, I'm gonna try to show you this without my camera lens fogging up. Taking her off the heat now. Gotta sit still for 3 to 4 more hours. Probably 3, because that's gonna be 10 o'clock and I have a bedtime. But guys, why is it so dark? That's so dark. There, you can see that. So I guess it's like a gray, a silvery gray. I can see some of that pinkiness coming through. Is that gonna be too dark for the blue dye? I don't know, we'll see. We'll see. Experiments. But hey, you know what this means, guys? It means that you can natural dye mercerized cotton. Yay! Okay, bright and early, it's 8:48 a.m. the next day, which might not seem early, but I was up at 6:30 and already grabbed coffee and everything. Drinking a lavender cappuccino. Sorry that you're on a tilt. You're balancing on a lunchbox, and that's the best I can do for you right now. We're gonna make our dye today. And okay guys, I bought the alum. I did it. Everywhere was telling me to do it, so I did it. Turns out ferrous sulfate or nitrate, ferrous something, is the thing that turns gall dye black, not alum. So we're okay. I'm just gonna put the alum into the dye. That's one method I saw. I'm not gonna do another mordant because we already mordanted with the galls. So that's the plan. Let's get it cooking. My flowers have been in the fridge overnight just to be kept fresh. Here they are, nice and vibrant. They smell like cornflowers, which I really can't describe what that smell is. It has like a very nostalgic, something I've smelled before, but I cannot say what it is. Okay, let me see if I can get you where you can see the pot a little bit better. Okay, so this is all the flowers I picked. Dumping that in. And these are actually edible. So people like put them on salads and stuff, the flower bits. So you can eat cornflower. I see now that my head is not in the shot. Okay. So there's that. Okay, so once again, I don't have a scale. So the noble cotton comes in 100 gram skeins. And I used up some of it for double knitting on a different project, which is the Stellar Vest. You guys, that video is already out, probably. Hopefully I still haven't finished it, but I am planning on releasing that video before this one. So maybe you've already seen it. That's what that yarn is left over from. So I have less than 100 grams of that yarn left. 10 to 20% alum to weight of fiber. So that would suggest 10 grams of this, 10 to 20 grams of this, if it were the full skein, which is 1 to 2 tablespoons. And so I'm going to do a little less. Maybe I'll do a full tablespoon. I'm going to do a full tablespoon and we're going to just, it's an experiment. I feel better. Oh my god, it won't open. I feel better. I have to take my rings off for this. Knowing that my yarn won't turn black. Is it going to turn blue? We don't know. Oh my god. Is this going to open? 1 second. Okay. Should I do a full or just under a tablespoon? I think I will do, I'll do a full tablespoon. Yeah. Okay. This is gonna be okay. It's gonna work out. And if it doesn't, it's yarn from stash. And I'm going to use the pot and the spoon for other natural dyeing, and I'm going to use the rest of this alum for other natural dyeing. So we're not worrying about the cost. Okay, and then let's grab some water. Juniper came over, so I'm going to make her say hi. Say hi, baby. Say hi. Okay, she doesn't want to be held. There you go. Okay, I have just enough water. She's helping. She's helping me make this. I have enough water to cover the petals. I'm gonna keep it at a low heat. I'm gonna pull out my thermometer in a second and try not to let it get above, I think, 150 to be safe. The book I'm using, oh, where's my thermometer? There it is. The book I'm using for reference doesn't have cornflowers specifically in it. And then I did try to find some blogs to reference, but they were not helpful. So I think what I read before was like, don't go above 160. You want the heat pretty low. So gonna heat this up for an hour, let it cook. I'm leaving the petals in to get that variegated effect. And then I will put the fiber in. Okay, so it's been cooking. It's been about an hour, just under. I'm calling a friend soon, so I won't be able to film anything, so I'm just gonna give you the update right now. So it is giving me color. It's purple. It's not blue, but that is so fun and so pretty. Yeah, look at that, guys. Exciting. It's okay that it's not blue because I am a purple girly. Yeah, exciting things. So I'm gonna give it maybe 15 more minutes to cook, and my fiber is soaking, has been for the last like 20 minutes so far, just to make sure everything is thoroughly wetted before going into the dye bath so that the color like hits everything evenly. But yeah, once again, leaving the petals in to get that variegated effect. Very exciting things. I'm so excited to see how this turns out, and I'll show you an update later. Okay, so it's been several weeks since I finished dyeing the yarn. To catch you up on what I did after it went into the pot is I kept it on the heat for, I think it was an hour. Oh my god, it's been 6 weeks. I don't quite remember. An hour, whatever I said in the last clip, I believe I said. And then I let it soak for 2 days before I rinsed it and then let it dry. If you can see, it's not blue. It's not blue, it's not purple. I don't know why. I don't know if alum does, in fact, turn oak galls black, because this is like the shade that it makes when you add ferrous sulfate to galls. Or use that as a post-mortem when dyeing with galls. Whatever. But yeah, so it's got like a bit of a purpley tint in the sun. I'll add a photo. Room for photo. So that, oh no. Oh my god, tragedy. Okay, so that you can see. But I do, after letting it sit in the cupboard of shame for several weeks, I wound it into a ball because it was very tangled, and then I put it back into hang form to be able to show you. I actually think it's really pretty. The variegation in it is very pretty, and I don't quite know what I'm going to make with it yet. Original plan was like a Juliet cap type deal. I have a few vintage patterns from like the 70s, I think, for little crochet bags. So I might do something like that with this. But yeah, I do think that it's not the color I was hoping for, but the variegation does, I'm quite happy with it. I do have the little scrap of fabric in the wool that spiderweb. Spiderweb in my mouth. That was horrible. You have the other two. Oh my god, I think I just swallowed it. Okay. Oh god. I have the scrap of fabric and the wool that I dyed as well to show you, so I can show you those now. I don't have anything to set this down on, so they're sitting on a planter, an overturned basket that I had plants in, and I'm gonna get dirt on everything. But so this is the wool. It is gray. It's not great looking, and it's pretty felted. I do one thing I will not do the next time I dye is mix it as much, if at all, because this was very tangled after the fact. So next time I know not to do that. This also looks like it felted. So yeah, no, for next time not to do that. And then here is the scrap of fabric. I'm going to embroider something on it, make it into a patch, so that's why it's in the embroidery hoop. But yeah, I do think it looks very cool. So it does, I do have to deal with traffic noise now in the background, but there was a tag on it that says the fiber content. It's 50-50 cotton polyester. But yeah, for that much, what's opposite of natural? Fake? I don't know, plastic fiber. It took the dye really well. I think that's very beautiful. Good to know. Good to know for the future when I want to sew something with that and dye it. But yeah, so that is how everything turned out. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like, oh my god, I'm throwing things. If you liked the video, like, comment, tell me what I did wrong, how I can improve, if you want to try this. Yeah, so I'm gonna go return the book I used for this video because it's overdue. So I hope you have a good day. I love you. Bye. Mwah.